Good day. Happy isolation/distancing. Hope you had a chance to check out the video on teeth. We'll continue on with Mr. Cheerful here. Nose and these folds of fat down here, these jowls. Lots of work to do elsewhere, but this is the most offensive right now. So I'm actually going to just perform some rhinoplasty right off the start. Of course, the first thing I think is, that actually looks kind of cool like that. So I'm going to take a still image of that and remember it for next time. I mean, the kind of hog-faced, hog-nose alien is certainly not is not a new concept, but that is it's kind of funny, kind of interesting, but not where we're going, today. Okay, if he has a fairly pronounced nose. Just gonna blend that up good. If your Sculpey's been sitting for a day or two, and you notice it's really resistant to blending and it wants to crumble, just hold your finger on it for just a few seconds, and that the heat from your hands can start to soften it up. So I'm trying to shape the bridge and kind of the ball of the nose, the end of the nose, in the absence of nostrils. Well, that's attractive. Also want it to turn up a little bit. Remember, you're always wanting to the greatest degree possible, try to look at your forms from all different angles. Okay, and now a couple little spheres. Let's try that. Blend them on the bottom first. And now blend back to the bridge. So I think after blending that one, I think I want a little bit more material. A little bit more mass. Make a little bean. Set that one there because I know that's coming. Yeah, that's more where I want it. Pretty prominent nose. Just blending it so it doesn't look stuck on. When I'm blending with this loop tool, I dig in a little bit from the start, to make sure everything's stuck together, but then it's really light, really light pressure. Okay, so I'm going to touch up down here and then blend the other side, and then we will punch in the actual openings in the nostril and sculpt this bottom. Okay, pretty happy where we've ended up with the nose. Looking in profile, I tried to keep the slant pointed upwards, so wasn't coming straight out horizontal, but it's slant, and it's got a kind of a flattened ball on the end, and it's pretty large, but I think it's appropriate. So the next step is pushing in the nostrils, and there's a lot of leeway because some people have very round nostrils, some are more oblong and thin, and it's really up to you. There's a couple ways you can go about sculpting the nostrils. You can carve them in very carefully. The other approach you can take is with a tool is to kind of push the shape in and sculpt the shape that way. It's just really important that you can hold your piece in a way that you're not going to, if I'm pushing in here up into this area and kind of digging around in the nostril, for lack of a other way to say it, I want to make sure I'm not distorting the external form of the nostril. So I'll see if I can keep this on camera. Most of it I try to keep out of frame, but you have to believe me, the amount of Gorilla Tape involved in this ratchet production of mine is pretty staggering. I'm just gonna kind of map out where I think the nostrils should be. I want them fairly round, they don't have to be completely round. So again, I'll support that. Might large, but we'll see. That's not bad. And I'll go back to this smaller tool. Stretch them out a little bit so they're not quite as round. Okay, so I think we're good on the nose for now. You can see I shaped them to be a little more angular, not quite triangles, but not quite round either. And I was able to maintain that profile with the curve and kind of that flat end. It's large, and that's okay. The features are our features as we finish them are getting larger and more prominent. Probably leave the width of the mouth the way it is. I don't mind that that mouth is sitting a little bit tight. So where I'll go from here is now that we have the nostrils. I've been talking about the nasolabial folds over and over, and those come down from the nostrils to the side of the mouth, right? So and because we've got these big jowls, they'll hang like that. And it'll come off. Like that. So, we've got most of that. We've got most of the mass there. Anyways, but now that we have our nose, we can really bring it off the corners. The corners of the nostril. So rather than trying to carve that line in, what I'm going to do is, I'll build a couple forms that can sit like that. Obviously blend them in, particularly on this back half, but leave a distinct fold, similar to what we have in the eyelids, where we haven't blended this completely. We've let it fold over. So we'll do that certainly for the edge down to here. That's going to mean resculpting a little bit of this in here. Again, I want to keep that profile that we've developed. I do want to clean up in here a little bit, and then these jowls should probably come down a little bit lower than the chin. So that's where I'm going to head to next. And after that, I'll probably go back and think about how we want to incorporate those elements. Then we're getting, I know I keep saying this, but we're actually getting close to adding some ears and then putting in all of that surface detail, the wrinkles, etc. So again, where I'm going to go from here is work on this a little bit. It's become a little bit mashed up from so much work on the nose. Put in these kind of jowl deposits, and make sure that the chin doesn't look like a little howdy-doody mouth ventriloquist dummy chin. Just kind of incorporate that while trying to maintain that the profile between the lips and the nose. All right, be good, or be good at it. So I did flesh out some of this area in here. I pulled the mouth open just a little bit wider and added tiny bits of material on either end of the lips. I keep having to prop this mouth open. I might need to stick a little piece of paper in there when we bake it so it doesn't close and fuse together if I choose that. And you'll I think you can see that I've accentuated these folds here, but also have some minor forms. So I've just stuck on this this little tube, and so if you use really thin strips and then really blend them in so that we see that there's a change in mass, but don't really have we don't want the edges, we don't want these to be folded over like the eyelids are. And just light pressure dragging some sort of loop tool or a flattened stick. So these aren't big wrinkles. We'll put wrinkles in later. This is more just thinking about where there's kinds of folds and come down off the nose. Just shaping it a little bit. Shape this one out. Okay, so I want to keep them subtle. Again, we will add, we will carve in some wrinkles. We're starting to get some variation in the surface rather than this smooth Charlie Brown head. And I can just keep doing that. Maybe one more comes off there. Yikes. So flattening it out, really blending it in. So we don't have a fold per se, but I do like to have a bit of an edge that will pick up some light and shadow. And don't go overboard. Don't put a giant piece like this on the cheek. It just won't look convincing. I might put another couple in here, or I might just leave those jowls kind of hanging. Maybe put one more over here, and then I'm going to sculpt in the the lids. I'll do a similar approach, maybe something a little bit bigger. I haven't really mapped out where I want to put this yet, but something for the clavicle that you can, that we can typically see under the skin. And similar to what we did up here, blend those in so it's not looking like a tube sitting on the surface, but it looks like it's a form that's under the skin. And again, I might use real anatomy, but use it as a springboard to maybe imagine something different. Maybe this, whatever this person is, their clavicle actually, it splits or something like this in a really prominent sternum, something like that. So that's where I'm going to go next, and I will see you later.